Thank you for tuning in every week. We got exciting guests, exciting topics, and this is no exception. We have former Def Jam artists here in the studio. Def Jam started by Russell Simmons. He performed or was working with the likes of Keisha Cole, Bruno Mars, and he's here to tell us because he was getting paid back then to make you dance. He was the one that you were hearing in the nightclubs, and he was doing things opposite to what he's doing today. He didn't have peace back then. He's charging the heart with what he's going to be talking about today in this week's show. It's so important that you tune in because this is how you're going to benefit from the experiences of our guests today. If you're really a music lover, make sure that you don't go anywhere. Here in the Dean Show with my next guest, former Def Jam artist. We'll surprise you with him when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Dean Show. 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 This is the Dean Show.
Welcome to the Dean Show. Peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How you been?
Alhamdulillah, man. Been good, man.
How's it? I introduced you, former Def Jam artist. For people that don't know, tell us about what is this Def Jam?
Def Jam is a very, very well-known record label. Especially was very well known for its hip-hop artists back in the day, such as Run DMC, LL Cool J. These are some of the artists that were on there back in the day. So a lot of people know it for that.
Now, we've had you on the show before, and we talked about, people can go back to thedeanshow.com to watch this program that we did, and you were getting paid, I mean, to be there entertainment in a nightclub. You were singing in nightclubs, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but now you're, I mean, before we cut out on that last show we did with you, you were actually, you weren't singing, and we're not talking about the singing, you know, the music of the natural sounds, the birds and the bees and nature and whatnot, and the human voice. We're talking about, you know, these things that are calling the human being to corruption, right? Right, absolutely. But you left off reciting the Quran. No. So now you're also doing a Quran project. So yes. You went from now getting paid to make people dance.
Exactly.
And how was the heart back then?
Eddie, the heart, you know, the heart itself is searching for the truth, sometimes without the individual realizing it. But what happens is that we become so busy, and I was just having this conversation with another brother about how Shaitan makes us so busy in our lives, you know, whether it be with music, once again, movies, you're watching, you know, people that are glued to the TV, literally becoming a zombie. We become so busy in our lifestyle that we don't realize the heart is literally screaming out. It's screaming for guidance. So the difference between my heart then and now is no comparison. I'm telling you, like anyone that knew me before and knows me now, they see a big difference, you know, and this is not to brag about myself or anything, but this is the calmness and the peace that I have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala today. It's a big difference, and I can't say enough to be grateful, you know. I can't say enough to thank Allah, honestly, man. I mean, I think about it every day, how Allah literally took me away from that environment I was around. Literally, if I wanted to right now, you know, I'm someone that can go right back to what I was doing again, and literally with all this technology today and make millions of dollars without a record label, you know. It's and just talking about how it's so much easier to do those things. But I know in my heart, those things are temporary enjoyments, and they're going to do nothing but destroy me. It's as simple as that. To simplify, it's going to absolutely destroy me. And that's what I was on, a path of destruction, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And that's the difference. When we say guidance now, you don't, because many people, they construe, you see a lot of weird things associated with man-made religions.
Absolutely.
And we know that Islam, submission to the Creator, not the creation, is divinely sent.
Absolutely.
And it makes sense. It's a logical way of life. It just fits with what you have inside that triggers now, that knows that this is the truth. And you wouldn't sell, I mean, this way of life now that brings that peace, contentment, and happiness, you're experiencing it now, which you weren't obviously before. It's temporary delights and enjoyment. So now when we talk about this guidance, and I'm going to ask you this question now because people think, okay, now I got the ghost in me, the spirit, and the people dancing, jumping, doing all sorts of weird things, and people get turned off. Intellectual people get turned off. But guidance is now you can see straight. you see things for what they are. The counterfeit gold, the counterfeit dollar, you see it as counterfeit. This counterfeit lifestyle is fake.
Absolutely.
Now you're on the real way.
Absolutely.
Talk about this.
Bismillah,
How
alhamdulillah.
people, many people, they don't see that.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Many people don't see that, and people don't understand, this is one of the importance of seeking knowledge. The importance of seeking knowledge is so that you worship your creator upon clarity. Like you said, it gives you that clarity. You're able to see the false from that which is real. You understand? And that brings us to a point. When I was about 17, someone told me I had a cross on my neck when I was about 17. And one of my friends told me you have a Catholic cross in your neck. And I said, what do you mean? I said, what's the difference? I didn't have knowledge. So that light bulb, I had that light bulb effect that people talk about. And so I started to read the Bible. I started to ponder on the Bible myself, which we mentioned that most people don't do. Why? Because of that hypnosis effect that they have, the hypnotic effect that they're under. Because you're jumping, dancing, hopping around. And so when a person goes to read the Bible, you fall asleep because now you're in search of knowledge. So finding that knowledge, searching for that knowledge myself, first, I see that what? Jesus worships the Creator. Moses worshiped the Creator. Moses and Aaron falling on their face and worshiping the Creator. Jesus, peace be upon him, saying, the one that sent me is greater than I. The one that sent me is greater than all. I said, hold on. I want to worship who they're worshiping. So this gives, once again, knowledge equals clarity, as you mentioned. As simple as that.
Now, this is my next question, not to disparage on any religion or anybody, but we know the message was clear, what all these messages came
absolutely.
with. But you mentioned the cross, and we know that Jesus, peace be upon him, he had nothing to do with calling people to worship him. He called people to worship the Creator because he was sent by the Creator. But now you see a lot of these celebrities and a lot of these musicians, they're doing everything opposite to what he called people to chastity, to morality, and away from this immorality. Right. But you've got this big cross on your chest, many of these musicians, and they're just inviting people to all sorts of scandalous, evil things. What are your comments on this?
My comments on that is that, once again, misguidance, Eddie. Just like myself, I was somebody that had a cross on my neck, used to walk around with these things, but it was more like you felt like it's some type of good luck symbol kind of thing.
More superstition.
It's more superstition. Like, as you can see, and myself, as well as many others, they don't know what that stands for. They don't have the knowledge that comes along with it. Okay, what is the belief system that comes along with that? We didn't know. I would say the majority of our Christian brothers and sisters, they just don't know. They don't have knowledge of what their parents are following. And that was me. I was in those shoes. I didn't have knowledge of the Bible. I didn't have knowledge of Jesus, peace be upon him himself, or our belief system. Mm-hmm. So once you have this is just misguidance. Once again, they're wearing it. I believe that many of them are wearing it for the same reasons I was.
Yeah, we're going to be right back.
Their family did it.
Right back with more former Def Jam artists here on The Dean Show. Don't go anywhere.
Please subscribe to The Dean Show. Follow us on our official Facebook and Twitter pages in the links below. Please also help support The Dean Show by making a donation in the link below.
Back here on The Dean Show. So from working with Keisha Cole.
Yeah, I've worked with her.
Bruno Mars. Had you get a chance to talk about now that you changed your life? There's usually amongst musicians who just fill their heart with music constantly, drugs, alcohol, and you see a lot of them committing, when they rise to the top, they see there's no peace there really. Right. The heart is yearning for something else, and they commit suicide, antidepressants, drugs, alcoholism. And this is actually, there's a statistic that it's much higher, suicide rate is much higher amongst famous writers and artists. This is a known statistic. Tell us now, did you get a chance to relay some of this information to them?
Yes, I've spoken with a few friends of mine within the music industry, and some of them know Islam is the truth. You know, I haven't personally got the chance to see, I haven't seen Bruno in a long time. It's been a few years since I've seen him. Keisha, I haven't seen her in years also, because I kind of like drifted off of the scene. But now, since I've been back here in the U.S., there's people that I want to reach out to again and really talk to them, because I know that many people are starving for the knowledge. So a lot of them, yes, I've had the opportunity to give them dawah and invite them to Islam, and I believe many of them know Islam is the truth. In fact, one of my friends who was he was the A&R of the Warner Brothers at the time, or Motown. You know, he knows Islam is the truth, but that lifestyle becomes a fitna for them, becomes a trial, where they see that, okay, if I embrace Islam, what's next, kind of thing. You understand? So, and there's a lot of singer musicians out there who are Muslim, but it's very difficult for them to get away from that lifestyle also, and it's very difficult for them to come out publicly and say who they are. You know, so they're dealing with that as well.
What advice, you know, when you see a lot of the youth out there, and you know, some are practicing, not so practicing, some have a problem committing so much, but then when you diagnose their life, you'll see that they are addicted to music. Is this a hindrance from you being more of a complete worshiper to the Creator?
Being addicted to music,
yeah.
Is it a hindrance? Absolutely, without a doubt, because as I mentioned before, the statement of Ibn al-Qayyim Jawziyah, rahimahullah, he mentioned that the Quran and music can't be in the same heart at the same time. You can't love music and love the Quran at the same time. They're going to be at war with one another. So, you know, it's definitely a hindrance. You know, a person may not feel the same when they're reciting in the salah. It's a big difference. You know, it may make you hate listening to lectures and things like that. A person that's addicted to music, you know, when that person is dying, they may be singing a song instead of reciting the kalima. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. So why take a chance? Why take a chance on something? And it's something where, you know, I know that it's definitely a trial, without a doubt. It's more addictive than probably drinking alcohol, or it's more addictive than trying to get away from smoking cigarettes and things like that. It's more addictive than that. I believe it. So it's a step-by-step process. No one's going to probably get rid of it all all at once, but take the steps necessary. Show Allah that that you're at least taking the steps. Allah is most forgiving, most merciful. So and most importantly, I would say with that is to ask Allah to assist us when we have those addictions. Just ask Allah, ask your Creator to assist you. Ask Allah for guidance. Even if we're a non-Muslim, for example, the best thing we can do is ask the Creator of the heavens and earth. Even if you don't believe that the Creator exists, say, "Oh God, guide me to that way which you are pleased with. Guide me to your way." Without a doubt, Allah is going to guide you to Islam. The Creator is going to guide you to Islam. If that person sincerely asks the Creator of the heavens and earth to guide them, He will guide them. Mm-hmm. So likewise, if a person sincerely asks Allah to guide them away from music, they will, without a doubt, Allah will assist them. Allah will show them a better way.
Usually these kind of songs that you were singing, the R&B, usually men, and just for our sisters, I mean, Islam came to protect the woman, elevate the woman, but through this music, this is another tool that men will use to undress a woman.
Absolutely.
And to have his way with the woman, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Kind of softens her up. Tell us about this.
I mean, this is something that is used to soften, like you said, soften the woman up. Women are very vulnerable in this society, as we see that they're used for they're degraded in the society already, as we see. So this is another way, from my point of view, to degrade women, because once you're able to have them swaying and have them think in a certain way, they're open for the attack. They're open for the attack. And this opens you up to, on a deeper level, to jinn possession and all kind of things when we are becoming so aroused with music. It opens people up. And that's a whole nother topic in itself. How people become under possession without realizing it, because they are in a state of such a state of arousal or anger, whatever it may be, this state of arousing, subhanAllah, it just opens you up for so many different things.
We're gonna take a break, and we got a lot more to ask you here in the Dean Show with former Def Jam artist, someone who lived for music, was getting paid to make you dance, now on a totally different tune. Here on the Dean Show, we'll be right back.
please subscribe to The Dean Show. Follow us on our official Facebook and Twitter pages in the links below. Please also help support The Dean Show by making a donation in the link below.
Back here on the Dean Show, I heard you mention this before about the jinn possession, and this is a known fact that many of the superstars, celebrities, you know, they play around with the Ouija board. They try desperately to make some connection with the unseen world because they desperately want to win that Grammy. They desperately want to achieve greater heights, so they'll connect. They'll talk to, spirits, spooks, and whatnot, right. The devils, the jinns, and Islam. This is one path that you took now, exploring the unseen world of the spirits that Islam clearly defines their role. Absolutely. And this is very interesting, very interesting and kind of scary also subject.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. People don't understand, like I mentioned, when you arouse yourself with these things, you're opening yourself up to a whole nother world that people don't understand. And as you mentioned, the musicians playing with the Ouija board, people don't know what these people are doing behind the scenes. There's a reason these women and these people are screaming in the crowd for them. Many people are utilizing the assistance of the jinn to assist them in their performances and everything. People don't realize these things. This is a whole nother reality, especially many of the Muslims are very ignorant towards this fact. They don't understand that this is a whole nother element. It's just not something that's, friendly and things like this. No, you are inviting these things into your home on a deeper level. You're inviting these things to your home and everything. So when you're talking about the jinn and these things like this, I'll give an example from a personal experience. Eddie, I can tell you that when I was a non-Muslim, as I mentioned to you, I used to play various instruments. I can tell you that it literally felt like I was under possession. I would do things that I was not able to do. I would play things that I was not able to play normally, that I wasn't able to play twice. And musicians may say, oh, this is the musician effect. Okay. The word genius comes from the word jinn. So me and a brother in Egypt, I remember we were having this conversation. He's a brother that knew Jimi Hendrix. He knew a lot of people. He's an old school musician. And he said, me and him were playing around talking about the word genius and stuff like this. He said, when we think about the word genius, we used to think about that person has that jinn. He got that jinn. Reflect on this. People like Jimi Hendrix, and he was not able to play without being under a substance, without being high. So we know, even from a scholarly point of view, what do the scholars mention about people that get high and things like this? You make yourself open to what? The jinn. Every musician that is on the highest level, think about it. Many of them are doing drugs and alcohol to get them to that level. You can't escape it. You might as well, if you don't want to be involved with drugs and alcohol or listening to someone that is involved in those things, you might as well take all of your CDs and everything and just throw it out. Because this is what the people that you're listening to, this is what they're involved in, many of them. Mm-hmm. Getting high, alcohol, and as you mentioned, Islam clearly clarifies and makes clear the position on those things. So, and when we're talking about soul music, have people listened to these terms? Soul music. This is something coming from someone's soul. So what state is that person in when they're relaying those lyrics to you? Or when they were singing that song, what state was the soul in? Because you may start to feel the way that person was feeling. You understand? This is a serious thing. Mm-hmm. This is a spiritual thing you're talking about. That's why they know it. They call it soul music. Yeah. They throw terms out. This is magic in the making. Okay, what magic are you talking about?
Yeah. Tell us now, the young boys, young girls, or young adults even, now they'll put on, some music, and obviously the parents, now they'll hear the cursing and everything, and they'll obviously be turned off. They turn that off. But now it's got a new flavor. So they'll to throw on something that just seems innocent. Parents won't catch on. But tell us the effects here, because you got like groups like One Direction, Justin Bieber. They don't curse much.
Right.
But it's kind of the same message. Here they're straight hardcore. Get that duty.
Right.
Beep, 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 beep. So now it's clear. But over here, it's kind of those sweet words and no cursing. But at the end of the day, it's talking about committing fornication, losing the woman's chastity. Tell us about this cover-up here with the...
Right. It's interesting because these songs may be cleaner, but still, once again, it goes right back to the root. It's still calling to the disobedience of Allah. Like as you mentioned, not being chaste. Like in this society, being a virgin is frowned upon. Why? It's because of what the people are listening to, what they're being conditioned with. They are being dumbed down. So, they're turning into zombies. So when you have these type of songs, they're still calling the youth to the disobedience of Allah, where the children, the youth are starting to be very disrespectful to the parents, and the parents don't understand why. Have you examined what they're allowed to listen to? What do you allow them to listen to? So, and I'll just a quick question. And everyone has to question this. If you listen to music, if a person listens to music, ask them, how many verses of the Quran have they memorized? Is the Quran difficult for them to memorize? If so, then you know why. I met people in Egypt, Brother Eddie, and there was a brother listening to music. He was addicted to it. I saw he was addicted to it. And I asked him how many verses of the Quran had he memorized, how many surahs he had memorized. And keep in mind that you have many people that have memorized the Quran in Egypt. This brother had memorized 4 surahs his whole life. Mm-hmm. And he told me, I said, have you been listening to music since you were a child? He said, yes, I've been listening to it. And he said, I'm addicted to it. I said, this is the reason. Mm-hmm. So anyone that has that same problem, look at the opposite, the Quran, and see how much time you spend with the Quran. And you'll see that shaitan is trying to take you away from Allah, clearly. Mm-hmm. Clearly.
Are you open now? We've had guests on the show before, and people, they like their message. They want to invite them to come to their masjid, to their university, to visit them. Are you open for giving such talks and traveling? And if someone wants to get a hold of you, how would they do so?
Absolutely. Well, I'll leave my contact details with you, and I think you will.
Do you have a website or anything people can go to you?
Yes, I have omarprojects.com, which is under construction right now, but they can still leave their email inside of there. That's UMAR projects, PROJETS projects.com, omarprojects.com.
Beautiful. And thank you. We're out of time. But Jazakallah Khair, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your experiences. Inshallah, the viewers got the benefit. I surely did. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And thank you for sitting tight through another episode of The Deen Show. No time lost. Former Def Jam artist here on The Deen Show went from working with the likes of Keisha Cole and Bruno Mars and many others, and he left that lifestyle because he figured out the purpose of life. And now he's filling the heart with what it needs. And we talked about that medicine, that now when you implement it in your life, you live by it, you truly get that peace and satisfaction. And what hinders people, you can have those songs playing all day and night, but at the end of the day, they're temporary fixes, temporary highs. And then at the end, you got big time crashes. And at the end, where did you go? You've been entertained with all of these sweet nothings. And many of the young ladies also end up losing their chastity, and they end up running towards this insanity. And brothers end up also doing some things that they shouldn't be doing, all on account of listening to, admiring the wrong people, listening to the wrong things. But when you go right with the advice that our guest was given, you won't go wrong. You won't go wrong. So implement this advice, connect with the verbatim word of God, the Quran. Ask your creator, the one who created you, for the support. If you're struggling, having problems, connect with the Salat. Leave off all of this other nonsense alone and come back to The Deen Show. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us, like us on Twitter, Facebook, and now you can also join us on the Instagram. We'll see you next time. Until then, peace be with you.
please subscribe to The Dean Show. Follow us on our official Facebook and Twitter pages in the links below. Please also help support The Dean Show by making a donation in the link